Hello, everyone. This is Jorge Estrada from my home city, the District of Columbia, Washington. I'm also known under my artistic entity, which is Mutatio Formulae, which is root Latin for mutation formula. I have garnered global media coverage via my fantastic publicist, Michelle Chella McGee of Bullseye Entertainment, Inc. As a result, I am waiting on specific dates and times to meet with the record executives for the following three historic major record labels in regards to my singing, my songwriting, my production of my music. G Unit Records, the record label owned by none other than 50 Cent. Atlantic Records, which was the home record label of Led Zeppelin, Junior Mafia, Stone Temple Pilots, Aretha Franklin, and more. And Epic Records, which was the home label to the eternal king of pop, Michael Jackson, and which put out the highest selling album of all time, Thriller. I will be meeting with them at the very top recording studio in New York City. I have been interviewed by radio stations from New York City to Wellington, New Zealand to Singapore. I will be coming out next week in a very popular magazine out of London, England, called Soul Central Magazine, as in the soul. They have 500,000 subscribers in London alone and 1 million worldwide. A member of the editorial staff, Mr. Mark Rowe, who is also a member of Universal Music Group, posted a blog which reads, check out Mr. Jorge Estrada in the upcoming May issue of Soul Central Magazine. Read about his epic music album debut, EP debut, filled with a roster of legendary musicians. Mr. Estrada's album is going to make history. Quote, verbatim. So if you go to soulcentralmagazine.com and go and click the search icon or click blog and simply type in Jorge Estrada, spelled Jorge, first name, last name Estrada, Estrada, you will see it. Also, this coming June, I will be in the #1 urban magazine of this nation, XXL Magazine, which has over 2 million subscribers nationwide and is one of the very forerunning magazines in the hip-hop community. So I will have an XXL spot in what is the most popular issue of the year for XXL Magazine, which is called the June Freshman issue. So look out for that too. Now, why is all of this happening to me? Number one, because of my unprecedented, epic, historic, legendary, real-life story of how, on foot, I single-handedly self-amassed an unprecedented, historic, legendary, and epic recording team roster of 20 to 25 musicians who have played with the biggest superstars, icons, and legends in music history. Also, because within that story that's so mind-altering of a phenomena, I also self-amassed on my very own on foot with no car, very little extra time or cash to spare, no representation whatsoever, just me. An epic and unprecedented and historic, legendary, national diamond-studded network of the very top and the very inside personnel of the biggest, most historic, notable, and reputable companies of this nation and the world. Now, to name a few members of my unprecedented, epic, historic, legendary recording team roster for what will be my epic EP music album debut. On drums, Mr. Robert Mousy Thompson, the former personal drummer of the Godfather of Soul, James Brown, of 15 plus years. May James Brown rest in peace. On lead rhythm and guitar, Julian Jr. Marvin, the former lead slash rhythm guitarist for the supremely legendary Bob Marley and the Wailers. On bass, two individuals. One who has asked to remain anonymous for contractual reasons, but he was the former bassist and one of the producers for the Godfather of Rap, Gil Scott-Heron, who was the recipient of one of the recipients, I believe, he was a recipient of the 2012 Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. The other bassist, Mr. Alvin White, was a bassist for the producer of all producers, Mr. Quincy Jones. And Alvin White has worked with a long list of legends and icons and superstars. On keys and piano, Charles Tolbert, a.k.a. Bliss Ananda, was the former keyboardist for Natalie Cole, the daughter of Nat King Cole, and also Ben Sands, who is the current keyboardist and saxophonist for the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. He has worked with the legendary OJs, the Spinners, and I believe the Temptations as well. He has offered to write horn lines for me. I have another legendary tenor saxophonist by the name of Charlie Rhythm Lewis, who worked with B.B. King. May you rest in peace and God bless you up there. King of the Blues. He's worked with Ike Turner as an Ike and Tina. And he's also worked with Buddy Guy, one of the most influential musicians of all time. Then there is Carl Cornwell, another legendary tenor saxophonist who was a saxophonist again for the Godfather of Rap, Gil Scott-Heron as well. Then we have Terrence Brown, otherwise known as Big T, of the roots reggae rock band out of DC called the Pocket Band. He was former guitar player for Paul Simon of Simon and Garfunkel. I also have as the keyboardist of that band, Matt Wood, otherwise known as Wonder Boy. These guys have opened up for Lou Rawls, Norah Jones, Boyz II Men, Third World, The Wailers, and many others. And a member of their band on bass is none other than the super legendary hip-hop and R&B producer, Mr. Chucky Thompson, who is a member of the Hitmen. He was a member of the Hitman production and recording team for Puff Daddy, now P. Diddy, and Bad Boy Records and Entertainment, INC. As a matter of fact, Chucky Thompson co-produced 4 songs on the classic Sentinel debut album of the Notorious B.I.G., known to the world as Ready to Die. On the 23rd of August 2014 in Bethesda, Maryland, at Flanagan's Harp and Fiddle, between 11 and 11:30 p.m., Mr. Chucky Thompson agreed to eventually meet with me one-on-one to have a professional, personal, one-on-one consultation in regards to my music. And coincidentally enough, that same night marked the 10th anniversary of my first live musical performance in life ever, with an entire band behind me at a time when I couldn't stay on key, couldn't carry a tune, and didn't really know what I was doing, didn't have it down technically, which was our first show with my band, in which we headlined at Club Bar DC9 in downtown DC on 9th and U Street Northwest, was the 23rd of August 2004. And yet I had like 35, 50 people in there. I had a guy walk in with a t-shirt with one of my song titles named on his t-shirt because he heard my demo playing at someone's party in an apartment in DC, and that was our first show ever. And I didn't know, I wasn't on key, I didn't technically have it down, and yet I still had a band and all those people there. And that was 10 and a half years ago. And just coincidentally enough, Chucky Thompson was like, look, man, I'll meet with you. Just talk to who you need to talk to. Talk to my partner, and I'll meet with you. Okay. Also, if you, now those are members of my recording team roster, and there's more. But we'll stop there. There's 20 to 25 of them. Citizen Copes, the drummer of Citizen Cope. It just goes on and on. There's a guitar player who did a full-length album and formed a band with Jimmy Chamberlain, the drummer of the Smashing Pumpkins. It's crazy, I'm telling you. There's another artist in my network who was signed by Marilyn Manson back in 2001 out of DC. Okay. And now to cap this, if you'll go to the following links, go to thisis50.com. That's right. I can't wait to meet his director of A&R, Tony G. I can't wait to meet with G Unit Records. If you'll go ahead and go to thisis50.com, THISIS50.com. Let me silence this here real quick. Yes, so go to thisis50.com and go to the search bar. Type my name, Jorge Estrada. Jorge, first name, last name, Estrada. And you will see my permanent 2,000-word lifetime blog on thisis50.com. And it's under the following title. Jorge Estrada is doing amazing history projects with legendary entertainers. Check it out. Okay? And I told you earlier, again, you can go to soulcentralmagazine.com, SOULCENTRALMAGAZINE.com / go to the search icon or click blog, type in Jorge Estrada, and you will read that Mark Rowe of Universal Music Group, he's also with Soul Central Magazine out of London, England, and I think he's also a part of a popular radio station out of London, said, quote, that my album will make history, that my roster is filled with legendary entertainers. And there we go. Okay. I would also like to announce that Rachel Dunn, the 2005 International Sci-Fi and Horror Film Festival Award winner for Best Cinematography of the Year for Stephen King's Gotham Cafe. She's worked with Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Tim Burton. She's considered a pioneer by a long rack of A-list Hollywood film producers for her visual effects design and supervision. She worked on Titanic, Fight Club, 'Twas the Night Before Christmas, several of the X-Men movies, etc., etc. RachelDunn.com, RachelDunn.com has agreed to put together a 3-minute sizzle reel to promo for me along with a documentary based on me, but that's on hold until I secure the necessary funding. Mr. Derek Ward, General Assignment Live Reporter for NBC4 News, WRC Television in Washington, D.C., has said that he will pitch a feature cover story of me to the producers at NBC4 News when the time is right. And believe you me, that will become that's getting closer. I am also going to wrap up the final draft of my treatise, The Book of Our Time and of Time Itself on Earth, a nuclear book of facts and solutions. You can check me out. Check out my YouTube channel, Jorge Estrada DC. That's right, Jorge Estrada DC. Jorge, first name, last name, Estrada, comma, D, period, C, period. I put 19 videos up 7 months ago. 3 of them are 6 hours of me telling my amazing story. 10 of them are with the legendary members of my legendary recording team roster testifying next to me. And 6 of them of Wolf Blitzer's front cameraman and the basic strip and semi-cleanup that his personal sound engineer did to my rough tracks, along with the same songs, but the other 3 that were recorded but not mixed properly, if at all, by Danny Demetro, formerly of the underground legendary DCR punk rock band called No Trend. Their manager at the time was Steve Blush, who was responsible for the documentary titled American Hardcore, A Tribal History, and they had the legendary underground cultish punk rock B-side heroine Lydia Lunch appear on their album called A Dozen Dead Roses, and they were called No Trend. After Wolf Blitzer's front cameraman did what he needed to do, it then went to my direct link to Dan Wilson, who wrote Rolling in the Deep and Someone Like You for Adele. Rolling in the Deep won the 2012 Best Song of the Year at the Grammys. And this same anonymous person, because he's asked to remain anonymous, is my direct link to Michael Bland, who produced several songs on Prince's album called 3121. He did one of the 3 tracks some justice, but not the other 2. So I went to Rose Recording Studio in Mitchellville, Maryland. I picked 10 YouTube karaoke songs of every genre you could think of other than country and opera. Not that I have anything against anything, I just didn't pick those 2. But every other genre you could think of. And I sung on top of them at Rose Recording Studio. So Joe Cocker, Billy Joel, Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, Diana Ross, Biggie, and 50 Cent. I also freestyled to 4 tracks off of 50 Cent's Diamond Certified album, The Massacre. The owner of this recording studio also has my 3 new song ideas, which got most of these legends around me. And which Wolf Blitzer's front camera guy had his personal sound engineer perform a basic semi-cleanup. And then I gave it to my anonymous person, who is my direct link to Adele's top songwriter and one of Prince's more recent co-producers. So now, till I get the necessary funding, which is not a lot of money, I'm almost there. As soon as I give that to the owner of Rose Recording Studio, he will cut, align, sequence, and mix down properly the YouTube karaoke songs I sang to, along with my 3 new song ideas, which will then go to my publicist and the record executives before I meet with them. And last but not least, you can also check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/MFJESTRADA, MFJ Estrada. And there's a lot more going on, but I would be here for another God knows how long. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night. Oh, last but not least, I'm going to have my MTV artist page set up real soon. I will also have 60 minutes of video time on Vlad TV. And I will also have 30 minutes of video time on thisis50.com. Please, if you want, by all means, subscribe to my YouTube channel or befriend me on Facebook. Follow me. Check me out in Soul Central next week out of London in an XXL magazine this June. And world, get ready. Thank you and have a great night.